Dean up. Dale, you need a puke bucket or anything? You gonna be all right, man?
Probably.
It's all right. Here's some Jason's famous complimentary water, part of your contract. Sorry, it's not Aquafina, but... All right, so I'll be honest again. When Jason asked me to do this, I said, you better have questions ready, because if there's no script with Kirsty and I, it can be extremely dangerous. So he said he knew that, so he would definitely have questions ready. All right, so some of these questions are geared towards Dale, and Kirsty's going to jump in.
Because Kirsty's a procrastinator.
Yeah, she didn't send some questions in or something, but no one's going to throw her under the bus. So.
No, not at all, not between you two.
Okay, so.
Are you even on?
I don't know. Is this?
It should be on, yeah. Yeah, you're good. Okay, so for those that don't know, tell us who you guys are and how long you've attended GU and how'd you guys get connected here?
Oh, it's me. Okay. We've been here 6 years, roughly. 6, 7, right? 7? Okay. We actually ended up, Bob's father works with Dale, and he kept on saying,
No, Dave did it.
Check one. There we go.
Is it on? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Hey, they can hear us.
Thank you. All right, so go through how you got connected here again, and we'll do question number 1 again.
All right. Okay, so it's been 7 years, and Dale works with Bob's dad. So, oh, that's reverb there. And his dad kept on saying, oh, yeah, Rich, he kept on saying, you have to come up to this church. You have to come into the church. And one Sunday, Bob was preaching, and we went ahead and came up here, and we've been here ever since.
Except for a couple times when we went camping.
Or on a missions trip.
Right.
So if some of you aren't aware that Kirsty actually suffered a heart attack, when was that?
4/4.
4/4.
Yeah.
All right, April the 4th. And so if we're getting, man, it's been already that long. Wow.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it.
So Dale, let's start talking about walking through the events of the night of Kirsty's heart attack. When did you first learn something was wrong?
Well, I just got done turning in the bus. I was doing my end of the night paperwork. She sent me a text message, I think I'm having a heart attack. I said, well, you need to go to the hospital. She said no. And I was like, well, is Mindy there? No. I was like, well, get Bob or Jason or somebody. And then next thing I know, so I ended that, finished my paperwork, got out to the car, gave her a call. Then she said, Mindy's here. I was like, well, then talk to her. And then, so that was the end of that. So I started driving, and then I called again, and Mindy answered, and we kind of figured out which hospital she was going to take her to. And so she said St. Clair, or I did, and she agreed to take her there. And so I hopped on the highway and then got caught in traffic, which kind of sucks.
So I'm going to just jump in real quick. Mindy was real close not being here because of her slacker husband.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I heard that.
I will confess, that was a night where during the spring, I worked for a school in the springtime, just so busy during the school year. I work in the athletic department, and I don't know if it had rained that day, but for some reason we had everything going on. And Mindy's like, oh, there's nothing going on. Let's go to church. And I'm like, I'm going to go to church tonight. So let's go do this. I just want to hang out at the house. We're at the school for 12 hours a day. She's like, no. She's like, we need to get the kids need to go. We need to go. I was like, all right, let's go. So I was a little cranky that, I'll be honest, I just didn't want to be here that night. And so I was like, well, let's not go. And she talked us into it. And I'm thankful that she is very convincing and stubborn. And so we came, and we first walked in, I was like actually irritated. So I just jotted right through and came to my seat back there.
Yeah, you beeline to your
I did beeline to
the
the seat. And so like they stopped Mindy, and then Mindy went over. So Kirsty, just explain a little bit of like what at that time, before you had like called Dale, how you were feeling and what Mindy was telling you.
Well, it was weird because I worked my 8 hours, and then I ran on the treadmill for 30 minutes, came up here, and when I got here, I'm like, I kind of felt funny, and I came in here, and Lisa was here, so I sat down with Lisa, and Lisa went and found Bob and Patrick. And they came up and they said, oh, well, is your arm hurting? And they go through the whole male list of what a heart attack symptoms would be. And it was none of those. And Mindy came walking in, and Lisa grabbed her. And I'm bullheaded. And God knew that if it was anybody but Mindy, I wouldn't have probably went. And she wasn't going to not let me go. So of course, Dale and Mindy were talking, and she brought me up there, and that was it. Poor thing, as soon as she stood next to me, I passed out on her. Yeah.
So in case you don't know, Mindy is a registered nurse, and she worked on a heart floor for years, so she dealt with heart attacks and heart attack patients for years, taking care of them. So she knew, she was in her wheelhouse. She really knew what was going on. She knew, her exact words were, when I went out there, it was kind of like seeing what was taking her so long to come in, and I saw something was wrong. Her exact words were, well, she goes, you're having symptoms. She said women have different symptoms than men, so she finally convinced her that it was time to call Dale and head out. So Dale, once you headed to the hospital and got stuck in traffic, you must have had some anxiety and some nerves. Tell us a little bit about that, like what you was going through as your wife. You don't know what's going on with your wife, and they're saying, maybe she's having a heart attack or something, and you're trying to zip. Right. And where geographically, where you, so people get a picture of where you're at geographically.
Yeah, I'm downtown. I'm at Compton and Spruce.
Spruce.
I got caught in the traffic in Shrewsbury on 44. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, being a husband, I need to be there for her, and so the fact that I'm stuck in traffic and I can't get to her, it just really, brought my anxiety up. Now, there's a part of me that was in disbelief. I thought it was maybe some bad gas or something, but just,
happens.
Yeah. But what if it was a heart attack? Here I am sitting in traffic. I need to be there. So it was tempting. I was going to go down the shoulder, but I didn't.
Yeah, so and you are right, because there is so many times where, you're even, especially with probably guys, but even you're pretty bold-headed about it too, as even you said, just when you just might not be feeling uncomfortable, something different may be going on, like, oh, it'll be okay, I'm good, and then all of a sudden something. Now you're healthy before any of this happened, right? Was there?
As far as I know, yeah, I have no family history of it. I work up at Barnes, so I got the little annual test every year. None of my numbers were ever showed up to where it would, even justify getting it checked out even more. And I didn't know the symptoms of a heart attack for the females. I was always tired, and I know I was complaining to Dale and my doctor that, okay, I'm lagging, I'm always tired, I'm worn out all the time. And that is one of the symptoms, that and flu-like symptoms, which are totally different from the male, definition or what the symptoms they have. So, yeah, there was nothing there ever, even family or history.
So Mindy and Kirsty left. They went to go to St. Clair, and so we just kind of, came in here and started the Wednesday night experience. Jason got up and he started praying. We were praying for her, and then we start worship, and I just was like, man, I probably need to text Mindy, and I wish I would have. It's probably on my phone somewhere, but I have a good memory, so I remember exactly what it says. So I said, hey, how are you guys doing? And I was really hoping, like, I thought it was just going to be a quick text back. Oh, we're good. We'll be back. And her exact text was, she just coded in the ER, and they're getting the paddles on her now. And I thought, whoa. So I shot out of here. Bob was over in the children's area. I grabbed Bob. I'm like, I told Bob, he looked at me. I guess he must have knew because my facial, he's like, you good, man? I said, Kirsty just had a heart attack, and they're using, so they have to, I said, I don't know, Mindy just said they got the paddles out on there. And his face was just kind of, like, we both had the same look, like, is this really happening? So I'm like, you need to go to the hospital. And so Bob shot up to St. Clair, and I came back, and I grabbed Jason. I said, Jason, man, she's had a heart attack. And so I don't know what's going on. I said, Mindy said they're working on her now. And so Jason, we just, stopped and started praying for her. And so Mindy was probably getting irritated at me because I kept like, well, give us updates. We're praying. She's like, I know you're praying. Just hold on. They're doing their thing. And so, Dale, so you finally get to the hospital and talk with Mindy to learn that Kirsty collapsed. What were you thinking as you made your way to her and then back to the ER room?
Well, getting in there, I was still in shock. I do remember being led by her back to where Kirsty was. And it was almost like my blinders were on, like I could see activity around me, but I was just focused on getting to her. And then I rounded the corner, and then I could see them working on her between the curtain, as it was drawn. And apparently I didn't look very, very good because the guard offered me a chair to sit down because apparently I was probably going to fall down. It's kind of hard to remember because everything happened so quickly at that point because they were working pretty fast on her. But what I do remember is that I heard them charging up the defibrillator. And then I heard them hit her with it. And then...
So whenever that happened, because this is really like, unless you've really experienced, this is almost like TV type stuff.
Right.
I mean, you don't really, this is stuff like that sometimes you're kids, you like will goof around and be like rubbing something together and be like charge and trying to hit something. So when you heard that charge, when you heard them charging up, what was going through? Did you have a moment where you're just like, is this real or what's going on? What's going on here?
Right, it became real at that point. It was no longer bad gas.
Yeah.
So
that's a good, that's a good note. They're not going to paddle you for the bad gas.
And then, all in that moment, it was like everything came to a head. All of our experiences for, the last 19 years, it was kind of hard to take.
So you guys have been together for how long? You guys been together
19
for
years.
19 years, yeah.
So things so in that probably wasn't it was probably a quick time, but all of a sudden, just like when they say life flashes before your eyes, your guys' relationship was just
everything.
Light speed from the what happened, just everything all of a sudden. You're that once. Close to.
And then in a snap of a finger, it's like I'm about to lose it, So.
Yeah, because I as soon as Mindy got me in the, as soon as Mindy walked into the ED, I passed out, and I don't remember anything, but apparently they did CPR, and then they had to shock me twice. Yeah, and then after that, I woke up, and it was weird because I started hearing things first, and I woke up, and all these people were just staring at me. It was probably like 15 people that were working on me, or it seemed like it. Mm-hmm. And I could not see Dale. I didn't know where he was. But I saw Mindy, and I knew Mindy brought me in. And she was pacing, and then she just dead stopped and looked at me. And I could tell by the look on her face that I'm like, okay, something happened. Mm-hmm. I will not forget the look on her face.
So at what point, Dale, whenever the paddles are getting recharged or charged up, the paddles hit her, when when do you just start? Was there a moment where you just kind of went into prayer mode? Like, or did you?
Oh, yeah.
What made you start praying, and what was that feeling like?
Well, after they hit her the first time, I immediately went into prayer. And, of course, this happened really fast, but where I was, it was almost like being enveloped inside of a bubble. And so I felt nothing but incredible peace. And then I heard them charging up, and then I heard God tell me she's going to be okay.
Wow.
And immediately after that, they said she's back.
Man, that's all. That's awesome. What did it sound like? How did that make you feel whenever you had that?
Oh, it was
peace
incredible.
in
It made all the hair stand up on my arms. Like when you have a thought, it's like in your own voice. Well, this wasn't my voice. I know for a fact it was God. It wasn't me.
Have you ever experienced anything like that before?
Never. Never.
That's awesome.
Not that incredible, anyway. Subtle little things, but nothing like that.
Was it audible? Like
Oh, yeah.
That's
like he was standing right next to me.
So once so God told you, she was going to be okay, and you instantly had that peace.
Mm-hmm.
What once you knew she was going to survive, and after the doctors kind of told you that, and after of course the best confirmation is from God, what started going through your mind then? Like as soon as you knew like she's going to be okay?
I started thanking God immediately for saving her life. Because not only me, a lot of us love her.
Oh, absolutely. This is my...
So, yeah, that's really what I was starting to do. And then, of course, my focus now went into family. I need to let her mom know, things like that. So.
Did you, on the way to the hospital or anything, like try to contact anyone? Or
No.
were you just getting right?
I was focused on where I needed
You were waiting
to be.
on getting there and seeing how things were going. And
Mm-hmm.
So what is, how does your day-to-day life, well, I just want to, before I ask that question, you, I don't have Facebook, but Mindy does it. I think it was the next day you'd put on there, thankful just to have lunch with my wife today.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just something as simple as, then I start thinking about it too, just,
Mm-hmm.
what was that like just posting that whenever it's just something we take for granted all the time, just spending time with each other, and something like lunch or just little things.
Right.
That was a big monumental thing in your life. It was having lunch with your awesome wife.
Right, yeah.
What was it like posting that?
Oh, it was great, because we always think of death or the potential of it as being something way far off. And so now that this is like right here, you're more thankful for the time that you have together, because tomorrow may never come. And so, yeah, I'm way more appreciative of every minute we have together.
So so Kirsty, all you remember is just Mindy bringing you to the hospital and you just waking up, right? Is that pretty much what you remember through this? Like this wasn't one of those like,
Yeah, I didn't
I'm
have
having
like
the big one time. I mean,
no.
It was just, you just passed out.
I she dropped me off and I went in, and then she went to park. The only thing I remember is I'm like, okay, I'm kind of dizzy. And then next thing I know, that's when they're shacking me and bringing me back. So I did not even have any knowledge from that. But then I was doing things that they said I shouldn't have done, because from the time I passed out to the time I was actually up in the ICU bed was 3 hours. And apparently it should have been longer. Like when I went into surgery, they told him, go ahead and go home. She'll probably be groggy all night and won't know. But I remember talking to, like, Mindy was there, and then Bob shortly came in after that, and before they brought me into surgery. And I remember all of that. And ever since they brought me back, I never lost consciousness again. But I should have. So I was doing things I shouldn't have been. My nurse came in and said, you shouldn't be doing this and this, and you shouldn't be here yet. You should still be down, because I had 3 stents put in. And I told my ICU nurse, I'm like, no, I have a whole church praying for me. Yeah, and it just happened.
What, so not just to kind of paint the picture, not that, just all the other stuff. So when you passed out, a lot of people don't know you hit the floor pretty hard because Mindy missed you, right? She was supposed to catch you and she didn't.
Yeah, she's not a good catcher.
So,
She's a good nurse, but not a catcher.
Your head actually busted open on the floor, right?
Yeah.
How many stitches did you have to have?
They didn't
You didn't have
put
to
any,
put any
no.
stitches
He was
in?
freaking out on me, but I'm like, oh, it's okay.
It
I'm like,
bled
it's
a lot.
bleeding.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean, I know
Yeah.
it's your head and it's going to bleed a lot. That's
Yeah,
what Mindy
he was
always
freaking
tells
out.
me.
Yeah,
But
I told
there
him
could
to.
have been like other things for you to be here today, you know, where you'd have like any other type of complications from
He
that.
should have actually, all the things no matter what anybody says, it was all God, because too many things, I couldn't have been lucky, or it couldn't have been anything along those
Right.
lines, because too many things would have had to fall into place. I started working from home. I was iffy about that. So I started working from home. Since I started working from home, I was up here because of Awanas. If I wasn't scheduled with Awanas, I wouldn't have been up here. I was tired. I was going to go to bed. He would have been planning a funeral. I mean, if you and Mindy would have stayed home.
Yeah.
Because she's the only one that I probably would have listened to, because I'm bullheaded. And then if she didn't get me there at that time, or if those doctors weren't there. But I had almost no, from my echo that they did, there's almost no heart damage.
Man, that's a miracle just in itself. Just
Yes.
that it's, so many, it's just awesome how God just, even though you went through that, we don't know why or, whatever, but there's so many things that the what could have happened didn't, and you're sitting here with us today. And I asked Mindy after, whenever of course, Mindy, I'll be honest, man, she comes walking into church like it's no big deal. I would have been walking in like I was a rock star, like, hey, I just saved your life. Everyone, come over here. She's just walking around like it was like, just another day at the office. And so I asked her, like, as we were going home, we were just kind of debriefing over it, and I just said, what was going on? And we know when you're getting her there, because she just says, she goes, I knew it was so serious. She goes, the whole time I was just praying the whole time, God, just let us make it to the hospital. She said, because if she would have passed out in the car, she goes, there's no way she wouldn't have been able to bring her back with just CPR alone. And so for that, that was her prayer just the whole time, just, God, just let her make it to the hospital. Because she knew, because whenever I remember her out in the foyer, she just, before you guys left, she goes like, this isn't good. We need to go now. And so she knew beforehand, like she was.
Well, that's like Carrie and Alex Sanders were out there, and they're like, yeah, like they came up after, and they're like, yeah, you were kind of like gray.
You were really gray.
But then I also kind of knew something too when we were driving, because I grabbed my phone out and I was on different medication, and I'm like, okay, I even showed Mindy. I'm like, okay, this is the medication. This is where it is. It's in my phone.
It was, it was not gas or anxiety. So.
No.
And you definitely, if something, you want Mindy to be here to help you, not me, because in that situation, I run around and I start screaming and I'm just a hot mess. So Mindy's the cool, calm, and
he would be the same way.
I'd be running around. So Mindy's the cool, calm, and collective one. So Dale, how's this changed your day-to-day life with your wonderful wife?
Well, I check on her a couple times every night. It's like I don't have a peace of mind unless I see her breathing.
Yeah.
I didn't do that before. I don't know if it's, some kind of disability now or what, but, it's like PTSD or something.
Yeah, I love
but
you, dude.
I have to check on her, It's kind of like a buddy of mine.
He almost got hit one night, because I'm a shallow breather in that, and he'd come up, and I'm like, when you feel somebody that close, and I'm one of 6 kids, it's like your instinct is to hit. And
yeah, she's a shallow
I almost
breather.
Did one night.
She's a shallow breather, so I have to really look at her, and then sometimes I have to grab her.
Are you awake?
And shake her. Yeah.
Are you alive?
Yeah.
Are you breathing? Oh man.
Right.
Seriously
don't
though,
give
did
him any ideas.
this give you like a deeper appreciation or love for her, or did this like? I mean, I know you loved your wife,
yeah.
But I mean, I can only imagine, as much as I love and appreciate Mindy, if I came that close to losing her, I don't know how that would
definitely
change our relationship and make me feel. Just so that change your thought or how.
I mean, I already loved her a lot before.
Yeah, exactly.
But as far as, I think it more goes along of appreciating our time.
Right, exactly.
More because, like I said before, it's, you know, you always think of death as something that's going to happen, you know, way down the road. It's not going to happen tomorrow. And this just confirmed that any day, you know. So you just got to appreciate every minute.
How has this changed your spiritual walk and interaction with God or your prayer life?
Oh, it totally made it stronger. You know, I knew God answers prayers, but, you know, there's always, I think all of us have some kind of doubt, you know, a little bit, and I'm no exception. But, you know, that just confirmed that He's with me all the time.
Yeah,
and
that's awesome.
Yeah, He's there when I need Him. You know.
And it does, because like the first thing you do when you wake up is like you thank Him for just even that day or being alive, because it kind of brings it to the forefront of like how easy and how quickly you can not be here.
What, before we kind of wrap up, what advice would you give to someone who is, you know, going through different trials and problems through their life, and just what kind of advice would you like to give anyone?
Just give it all to God. He'll help you through it.
It's awesome.
Mm-hmm. How about you?
Well, we're waiting.
Yeah.
You actually have a mic in your hand, so you're allowed to.
Oh, I can actually
This
talk.
isn't Culver's. What advice would you have to people? Or
Oh, just to put your trust in Him, and you know, if pray, and if it's gonna happen or if it's meant to be, He's God. He knows it's gonna happen.
Right.
You know, I mean, I shouldn't be here.
yeah,
So
Man,
I mean, you
thankful
can't.
she is.
Yeah.
God's got a plan for you. That's
Yes.
awesome. So, well, we, you know, sometimes you don't see Dale a lot because he's up in the.
You
up
see the
top.
glare.
He does. I'm not gonna go there.
Yeah, I don't like
I
the
did.
sound of my own voice
Yeah.
amplified like it is right now, so it kind of makes me nervous.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so you, so he's very. Both you guys are just important parts of our church. You're a big part of with the greeter and with greeting and just meeting with the new people and stuff. And man, and Dale, just what you do for us, just IT questions and just getting all this stuff together and making sure it all goes smoothly, and just even the little things that we take for granted, like we would think would be no big deal, swapping out computers, and just
Right.
something is what we would think would be, oh, well, unplug it, plug it back in, and that was, I know that just you did just a lot of behind the scenes stuff, man, and we're glad you're here. Man, I'm glad I didn't have to attend the funeral of my South City sister, so we have South
Right.
City roots, so we get loud together, and
We get balled out by him.
yeah, Dale gets mad at us when we get.
Yeah.
We always blame it on growing up in the city. Then once Bob gets in and starts hooting and hollering, we really
It
get
goes
going.
downhill after that.
But no, we appreciate you guys. Dale, I know this is definitely stepping out of your comfort zone, and
Right.
for you to sit up here and I just wish a lot more people had been here and make you a little more nervous.
Then it would have been all me. We would have been in
Would
trouble.
you, if there had been 200 people here, would you have bailed
Yeah.
on us?
Oh, yeah.
So we can't redo this Sunday morning. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, we can. Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you.
I actually prayed for a small crowd.
Oh,
tonight.
yo, what are you
So
doing?
the snow is on him.
Dale.
He is, yes. Oh, this is the one that told me, okay, that Thursday.
I see Dave's playing around.
He puts
our
on
cue.
Facebook that he's like, okay, she can have visitors. I thought I was going to get kicked out. I had 45 people up there that Thursday.
Yeah, it was West shows how much that we love you and that people care for you, and we appreciate you guys. We're glad that God's working and you guys are here, just plugging away with us, doing this with us together. Let's give Dale and Kirsty a clap before we. Oh, and just a side note, as a result of this was something in the works, but it's expedited it. There is a brand new AED machine back there that we hope to never have to open up and use, but it is there, and there are proper people trained to do that, and so that's there. And just so you guys know that sometimes it's just a peace of mind, but that was kind of how serious the pastors took it. And I remember texting Bob and Jason like, so we're going to be on top of getting this, right? And we got it pretty quick, so that's back there. That's something I'm not going there. I'm not throwing them under the bus. That's up to you. So I think before we leave, I think Ryan's going to come up, man, play one more song, and we'll pray real quick, and we'll close out our week together.